In the vast multiverse of Marvel, there are a lot of villains out there that push the limits for the heroes. Sometimes it takes the might of an army of superheroes, or in some cases, even the heroes aren't enough to stop them. And in today's video, we're going to be going over, obviously as you can tell, we're going to be doing 15 of the most powerful villains we've seen in the Marvel Universe, so it won't just be MCU villains that we've seen, it's going to be the whole of Marvel together. Obviously I made a shorts yesterday, we made a shorts yesterday that was about the strongest villain there is in Marvel, so go check that out if you want to, and obviously there's going to be 15 of them. So if you enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, and yeah, let's get into it. So at 15 we have Loki. Now Loki has appeared in the MCU many times, as we know, though he is not physically imposing as we can see in the MCU, but he is the god of mischief, the master of mystic arts, makes him a challenge for the Avengers, as we saw in the first Avengers film, and many others, as he is like to Thor, his brother. He also possesses obviously godlike strength, like his brother, much like his brother, making his appearance a deception. Loki has the ability to teleport, shapeshift, and influence the weak-minded to his will, as we did see in the first Avengers film. But in more recent years, Loki has earned more skill over his weapons, and like the scepter we saw, and yeah, we've seen him, but over the years he has become an anti-hero kind of, and he has become loved to many MCU fans over the years. And obviously as he died in Infinity War, we have seen him again in the Loki show, which I thought was amazing, and we're going to see him a lot more in the future. Maybe he'll be a new Avenger, which he probably won't like, but he'll probably have to do it anyway. So at 14 we have Magneto. Now Magneto is obviously a villain of the X-Men. We haven't seen the X-Men in the MCU yet, but from the comics, Magneto is a very good villain, very strong villain, and I hope we do see Magneto in the future. But in the world of technology in the X-Men comics, Magneto having the ability to manipulate metal however he wants, that alone makes him very dangerous. One flick of the wrist and Iron Man is turned inside out of all the Avengers. Quinjet is nothing but a metal ball for Magneto to throw into space. What keeps Magneto from being so deadly are his morals. Yes, he's a radical who thinks all humans need to pay for their prejudice against mutants. However, in time of crisis, Magneto is also a sympathetic being who doesn't want the world to end, which can lead to him as an unlikely ally. So, I think Magneto is going to be a very cool villain in the future. Obviously, as we get the X-Men, obviously through the multiverse, I hope we do see the X-Men, which we probably will. Obviously, new X-Men show we're going to get, well, not new, continued, but yeah, I can't wait to see Magneto. Now, at number 13, we have Ultron. Now, in the comics, Ultron was originally created by Hank Pym, but obviously, as we know in the MCU, he was created by Tony Stark when trying to create an army of his own around the world for peace, and obviously it went wrong with Ultron, as we know. He wanted to take over the world, and yeah. But in the comics, Hank Pym originally created Ultron and made him a blueprint, obviously an AI genius that could battle the Avengers, obviously with an adamantium body, which is the most powerful, well, arguably the most powerful metal in Marvel. It is stronger than vibranium, as we did see in Endgame, which was Thanos' sword. It was made out of adamantium. Ultron's powers go well beyond super strength, flight, or speed. He's notoriously hard to kill, turning on every other villain who decides to bring him back to life. Add that fact that he can control technology remotely and even hypnotize humans to implant secret missions, and Ultron's constantly evolving intelligence can go toe-to-toe with the best comic book villain. Obviously, as we know, he is obviously a really good villain in the MCU, as we saw in Age of Ultron. So, number 12, we have Dark Phoenix. Now, obviously, this is originally from the X-Men, which if you haven't seen the X-Men films, then you should go watch them. I think she's a very cool villain, well, kind of a villain in the film, Jean Grey and stuff like that. But yeah, she is obviously control people's minds and stuff like that. Physically form of the cosmic and otherworldly Phoenix Force. Eventually, her heightened powers corrupted her, obviously driving Jean mad and wiping out alien worlds by accident. So yeah, she couldn't really control her powers as they got even more powerful. And yeah, that's why she is a very dangerous villain and very powerful. Now, at number 11, we have Thanos. Now, maybe to some people, Thanos isn't really a villain, but obviously, as we know in the MCU, to them, yes, he is a villain. Obviously, Eternals did kind of back that up. If you haven't seen Eternals, then go watch it. This is a spoiler for it. But it kind of did back that up for why Thanos did it. Obviously, as the world was overpopulating, the Celestial that was hidden in Earth years before. It destroys worlds when the planet hits a certain point of population, and obviously Earth did, and obviously Argamesh was going to destroy Earth, but obviously they didn't. The Eternals stopped it, so that was a reason probably why Thanos was going to do this. But easy, obviously one of the most famous villains in the Marvel universe. Thanos in the comics was obsessed with providing his worth to death herself. However, in more recent years, the Marvel Cinematic Universe portrayal has turned Thanos into an icon. A survivor of a lost race, he determined to create the perfect balance in the universe. Obviously that's what he wanted, balance in the universe, but there was obviously also another reason, as he is half an Eternal and obviously half a deviant, so he obviously knew probably about Argamesh's plan to wipe out Earth and all the other planets with the Celestials, so he probably wanted to stop that, which is why I think Thanos in a way is such a really cool villain. And obviously, as we know in Infinity War Endgame, he was really amazing and made the two films amazing as the main villain of trying to get the Infinity Stones. I thought it was amazing. At number 10, we have Vulcan. Now, this is another X-Men villain. Obviously, I hope we see all these villains from the X-Men in the future, because I think the X-Men has a lot of potential in the MCU. He is the brother of Cyclops in the MCU and Havoc of the X-Men. Since he is basically able to control energy in nearly every form, Gabriel can deflect Cyclops' eye beams, resist attacks, and even hijack or absorb the abilities of mutants around him. When he feels betrayed by Professor X, he takes the name Vulcan and turns the powers against his own family. And yeah, he's very powerful, as you just heard. So yeah, that's why. Number 9, Ego the Living Planet. As if you have seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, he is a Celestial and he is very powerful now. In the comics it is kind of a bit different, but not only is Ego a literal planet, but he is a godlike being with immense powers. He has a complete control over his physical form and can create an army of constructs and his own antibodies to attack and destroy anything. On top of that, Ego can emit powerful energy that can reduce anything to ashes, as we saw in a bit different in Volume 2, but he had his battle with his son Peter Quill, or Star-Lord, and he was very powerful in that, trying to make his own son obviously God with him. And yeah, in the comics as well, they're both amazing characters and they are obviously both immensely powerful. At number 8, we have Galactus. Now, I think we're going to be getting him in the MCU very soon, obviously, as he is also a Celestial as well, like we know in Eternals. We've seen him a lot, so hopefully we do see him in Eternals too, or maybe in the future of the MCU. As we know, he was originally created to fight the Fantastic Four in the comics, but Galactus isn't an alien or a god. He is a bit of both, as he is obviously a Celestial. But before the Big Bang created Marvel's universe, an alien fled death of the one that came before, fusing with its essence before the new one took its place. Galactus was the result, a godlike being who has to feed on living planets to stay alive. So yeah, Galactus is obviously, like I just said, immensely powerful, and he is a Celestial, so he can literally stop anything. The next at 7 is the Beyonder. Now, I have made a video on this before about the strongest species in the Marvel Universe, and it is the Beyonders. Now, the Beyonder is the main one of them all, and he is a big threat to the universe of Marvel, and I do hope we see him in the future, obviously, as he was introduced in the comics of the Marvel Secret Wars, and that is kind of being set up now in the MCU for the future. So that's going to be very cool. But he was revealed that he wasn't a mutant or alien, but an entire universal realm known as the Beyond, condensed into a human form. So he is literally a whole universe into one human form, which is obviously, as you can tell, very powerful. So as you'd expect, his powers were impressive. He's able to banish people and destroy and resurrect beings at his own will, and throw heroes and villains into battle for his amusement, so he could literally control anyone. So that is why he's such an incredible villain. At number 6, we have Mephisto. Now, Mephisto was introduced in the Spider-Man comics. He did create a fan favorite hero, Ghost Rider. He is the actual devil of the Marvel world. So I hope we do see him in the future, maybe No Way Home, in like a post-credit scene. As we know, there is rumors going around that Mephisto could be a part of Marvel. Part of No Way Home, maybe a little bit, but maybe not. Obviously, everyone was saying Doctor Strange could have been him in the trailer, but I don't think that's the case at this point. But I do hope we see him in the future, as he is such a cool character, with the likes of Morbius hopefully come into the MCU, as we know he's in the Sonyverse, with the multiverse combining. I think he will make an appearance. And yeah, everyone wants to see Ghost Rider, so making Mephisto make Ghost Rider appear would be very cool, and obviously him being a demon obviously makes him very powerful. Now we're going into the top 5, and at 5 we have Annihilus, and he is very powerful. When an advanced race from the negative zones seeded barren worlds with alien spores, they couldn't have predicted that one spore would grow into an Annihilus, evolving from a weak insect into a brilliant warrior thanks to his creator's technology. He was set to destroy all life as he saw as a threat. So he was introduced in the Avengers comics, Fantastic Four, and he was a very powerful villain, and that's why he's obviously in the top 5. In the number 4 spot we have Apocalypse. Now Apocalypse was in the X-Men series, obviously he was in the film X-Men Apocalypse, he was in the comics as well, but he was born in ancient Egypt. His tribe left him to die. Instead he was discovered by a band of warriors who recognized the body, and the first immortal mutant. Over the years, Apocalypse would take a new name and reveal more mutant powers than nearly other Marvel character. So that's why obviously he's very powerful, and we know him in the X-Men universe. And hopefully we'll also see him in the future as well, obviously with the X-Men being introduced to the MCU very soon. Now we have Magus. He is most Marvel fans know the story of Adam Warlock, a hero engineered to be the most perfect and highly evolved human in existence. Not long after he was created, Adam encountered Magus, a leader of pure evil who led an oppressive religious empire across thousands of enslaved worlds. With the power of quantum magic well beyond Warlock, the real twist came when Magus revealed that he was once Adam Warlock. Eventually corrupt and growing impossibly powerful, Warlock ended up using his soul gem and some teamwork to bring Magus down. So I think obviously with the introduction of Adam Warlock coming to the MCU very soon in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, maybe Christmas special as well, I think with Adam Warlock in the future of the MCU, I think Magus could be introduced as well. Obviously being Adam Warlock in his old past, I think it could be very cool to do kind of story on Adam Warlock. That would be very cool to see. Now we're going into the top 2, and at second place we all know this villain, an amazing villain, and his name's Dr. Doom. Now, not every villain needs a superpower or alien upbringing to be effective. Take Victor Von Doom. With one parent lost to Mephisto and the other to a tyrant, Victor put his energy into righting those wrongs, mixing his mother's mysticism with old-fashioned science. His brilliance soon landed him a scholarship to America. But when an experiment left his face horribly scarred, he put the blame on his friend and colleague Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, taking over his home country of Latveria. Dr. Doom would become one of Marvel's most brilliant and most villainous figures. Dr. Doom has taken on heroes and villains of all planets and dimensions with the help of his intelligence and magic combined. So obviously, as we are getting the Fantastic Four movie in the MCU very soon, I think seeing Dr. Doom in that, and hopefully having Dr. Doom as the future villain over the next few years, or the next years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think that could be incredible, with Dr. Doom obviously appearing in that film, being the villain, and then also being the future villain of this, because as we know, Dr. Doom is incredibly and immensely powerful, and that's why he's obviously in the second spot. Now, I did a video on this yesterday, and at number 1 spot it is Molecule Man. Now, you might look at him and think, that he isn't very strong to the likes of Dr. Doom or Thanos, but his appearance is very deceiving, as anything is possible for a Molecule Man. This is what makes him such a challenge. He could snap all of the Avengers into dust without needing a special glove. In a way, Molecule Man is the most overpowered villain, which is likely why he is not featured often. Obviously, we're probably not going to see him in the Marvel Universe, as he is so powerful. So realistically, in the MCU, in this first spot, if it was based on MCU character villains, it would probably be Kang the Conqueror. Obviously, as he does control time, he wants everything to be perfect, obviously in time. And now the MCU, obviously as we know in Loki, everything has gone wrong with the time, and now Kang's variants have been let loose. So Molecule Man is obviously the most strongest in the Marvel Universe, which is why he probably won't appear in the MCU, as he'll be too powerful for anyone to control. So I hope you did enjoy this video today about the top 15 most powerful villains in the Marvel Universe. If you did enjoy, please like, subscribe, and tell us down below who your favourite villain is in the Marvel Universe. Hope you had a good day, and goodbye.